Gaie Delap will turn 78 next month. The fact that she may do so in prison has prompted a chorus of protest over her treatment.
She used the word terrified, and I would never have expected her to use that word. And I questioned her and I said, "Are you really saying that?" And she said, "Yes, it is terrifying."
Traffic stopped on the M25.
The backdrop, November 2022, and 4 days of Just Stop Oil protests on the M25. Huge disruption ensued as activists climbed motorway gantries. Among those jailed since was Gaie Delap. After 3.5 months in Peterborough Prison, the former art teacher was released early under a home detention curfew in Bristol, where she lives. But the monitoring company couldn't fit an electronic tag to her leg due to a health condition, and when it came to the option of a tag on her wrist,
they said they didn't have a tag that was small enough to fit her wrists. So they said because of an inability to monitor, she would have to be recalled to jail.
Those campaigning on her behalf have now received a letter from the prisons minister, Lord Timpson, in which he says she must go back to prison. It's elicited this response from Gaie Delap's MP.
I was hoping, given Lord Timpson's track record and clearly progressive views in terms of prison reform and rehabilitation and so on, that he would understand that this isn't a good use of public resources, especially when we have incredibly overcrowded prisons and we're letting people out early. Why then are we sending a 77-year-old grandmother who is no risk to the public back to prison on a technicality?
Basically asked a load of our women friends, all of a certain age. They've all got risks about 14.5, 15.
Supporters of Gaie Delap claim a monitoring solution must be possible, and if not, it leaves a criminal justice system ill-equipped to meet stated ambitions of managing more offenders in the community. But situations like this are rare, is the government's position. Also, that without a means to electronically monitor someone, ministers can't intervene. We have a duty to enforce sentences passed down by the independent judiciary, said the Prison and Probation Service today. The law states anyone released under home detention curfew must be tagged and recalled if no alternative solution is available. There may be people watching this, particularly those who face considerable disruption because of your sister's actions at that protest, who might not have much sympathy for her and the disruption she's facing right now.
She has served the sentence that was applied for that action. She was accepting that she should serve it. What she is concerned about now is that she is facing a situation which no other or very few other prisoners would face simply because of the lack of electronic tagging.
Gaie Delap herself can't speak to us due to her licence conditions. She is particularly anxious, says her brother, about a return to prison due to health issues. And what are your thoughts on all of this now?
On her behalf, I'm horrified. She shouldn't be going through it.
Have you had a chance to speak to her today?
I have spoken to her today. She didn't sleep well. She's not sleeping well. She's fearing that knock on the door.
Well, that was Andy Davis reporting. Now, in the last few moments, Gaie Delap was indeed arrested and now looks set to spend Christmas in prison. I'm joined now by Mike Campbell, a family friend and former probation officer who has supported Gaie's case throughout. Mike, good to have you on the programme. So just tell us what's actually just happened.
I received a phone call from Gaie at 6:30 this evening. She was in a police car at the time, and she said she was being taken to the local nearest prison for women to Bristol, which is Eastwood Park. And she wanted us to know what had happened and asked me to pass on the news to Mick, who you've just interviewed.
She's 77 years old. She is, by all accounts, quite frail. What's it going to be like for her to return to prison, especially at this time of year?
Well, I think, she's got medical conditions that need to be treated in hospital. She was due, in fact, next week to have a hospital appointment, and she thought that she might be able to attend that before her arrest. I think she's worried, very worried. about how her health will be managed when she's in Eastwood Park. And she's very sad that this has happened. And we're very sad that she is going to go into a situation where she is going to find it very difficult to manage. She had a tough time in Peterborough. She accepted her prison sentence, but it seems very harsh to send her back now to Eastwood Park to spend best part of another 3 months in prison to complete her sentence.
It also seems ridiculous that they can't find a tag that fits her wrist. I mean, is there nothing else one can do to make the tag fit?
Well, let's look at this. The government is promoting tagging for women, particularly mothers, to reduce the numbers of women going to prison. It's unlikely that a tag has not been designed for a woman. And I think we find it absolutely astonishing that and Gaie hasn't got a smaller wrist than anybody else. So we think there is an alternative. The fingerprint tag has been mentioned, and we'll be raising this to say to Lord Timpson that there is an alternative to the electronic tag.
And just finally and briefly, Mike, I mean, there were some people there who really didn't agree at all with what the protesters were doing, with the blocking of traffic and so on, who will be actually rather pleased that she's gone back to prison.
Yes, and look, whether you agree or don't disagree with what Gaie did, that disruption for an hour resulted in a 20-month prison sentence. She's returning now back to prison, not because of that original sentence, but because she can't abide by the conditions of her home detention curfew because there's no tag available to put on her wrist.
Okay, going to leave it there. Mike Campbell, thank you very much indeed.